Hello everyone, and welcome to April 14th, Wednesday of the second week of Easter, and continued happy Easter greetings to each of you. The other night I was watching a show on TV called My Grandparents' War, and it airs on PBS, and it follows a particular celebrity as he or she shares a story about their grandparents and their involvement in World War II. Often there are some missing pieces in the story, and the show follows them as they try to fill in those pieces and come to know a fuller understanding about the life of their grandparents. It really is a wonderful show. In the episode I just saw, we hear about a British grandmother and a Spanish grandfather, and both take action to go against Hitler and the oppression and atrocities of the Nazis. The grandmother, who was way ahead of her time, is a politician who gave courageous speeches urging the British government to do more in helping the Jewish refugees coming from all over Europe. The grandmother, named Violet, receives a note from a woman, someone that she does not know, asking for help in trying to get her husband a visa so that her husband can join her and her baby in London. He's in Czechoslovakia and can't get to them. So Violet does all that she can to help this man reunite with his family, and she's able to do it. The grandfather is Eduardo, and he was a Spanish diplomat in France when it fell to the Nazis. In 4 very hectic days before he and his family had to flee, he wrote thousands of visas for those trying to flee France. And even though the Spanish government told him not to do this, he defied their order and literally saved thousands of people. In a very poignant part of the show, the celebrity has the opportunity to meet 2 women. One is the daughter of the man that her grandmother helped from Czechoslovakia. This woman, who she's meeting for the first time, literally would not have been born had it not been for the fact that her father was reunited with her mom. And actually this woman, her middle name is Violet, named after her grandmother. The celebrity also gets to meet the granddaughter of a man who had received one of the visas written out by her grandfather, and they actually had the actual visa, and she was able to see her grandfather's signature that he had done that for this person. And it was so moving to hear about how the choices made by her grandmother and her grandfather made such an impact on the lives of others, still making an impact decades after the fact and living out in the generations of the family that would come after them. So why do I share this story? I thought about that show when I was reflecting on today's reading from the Gospel of John. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, so that everyone who believes in him might not perish, but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but the world might be saved through him. And this is the verdict, that the light came into the world, but people preferred darkness to light because their works were evil. For everyone who does wicked things hates the light and does not come toward the light, so that his works might not be exposed. But whoever lives the truth comes to the light, so that his works may be clearly seen as done in God. What I find interesting in this passage is that when it speaks about the light that comes into the world through Jesus, It doesn't say that the light's going to come and it's going to eradicate darkness. It says that even though the light has come, people will still prefer the darkness. And so it is in life, the ongoing struggle of light and dark. It was so during the time of Christ, through the centuries during World War II, and certainly continues today. But what I think the stories of those grandparents really helped me to see is that the light continues as well. There have been and can continue to be those who make choices to bring about light. And it's not impactful for just that moment. It carries on and continues to shed light. There is darkness, for sure, but the light also continues. The stories I shared are but two of the many stories that we could hear. And today, we know, especially even through the pandemic, the amazing stories that we've heard of people choosing to be the light in darkness. The passage says, "Whoever lives the truth comes to the light, so that his works may be clearly seen as done in God." Works may be clearly seen as done in God. So what about us? What choices do we make that gives witness to the light, where others perhaps may clearly see God alive in us and in those moments of light? I know that at times I can make lots of excuses. I can say, oh, I'm unimportant, I'm insignificant. What can I do that can compare to the decisions and the actions made by those grandparents that I shared about? But I think those are excuses that I make. I think it's more about making choices in the circumstances in our lives, wherever we are, in whatever we do, and with whomever we interact. In our corner of the world, we can bring forth the light. I believe that. It doesn't need to be some grand decision. They're just little sparks can bring forth a great fire, a great light. So maybe in the days ahead, we can reflect on the calling we each have to bear witness to God's light, to be light bearers. Whoever lives the truth comes to the light, so that his works may clearly be seen as done in God. Blessings of hope and courage as you continue to be bearers of light in your corner of the world.